Hey everyone, it's Kate. Welcome to day 3 of our 7-day broadcast. We're doing live broadcasts. I'm coming to you for 7 days, guys, and we are talking about the 7 mistakes we women leaders make over and over again that keep us from having it all. So, was it Monday? What's today? Yes, Monday we talked about clarity. Tuesday we talked about work first. Today we're talking about time. Yay, Kate, we're so excited you're going to talk about time. All right, so what we have to change time. We have to change the paradigm of time. And I want to talk about 2 really, really critical points when it comes to time, because we all do this. We all say, hey, you know what? I just need more time. Oh, if I only had more time. And we have all these colloquialisms and these trite little hackneyed phrases like, oh, well, time is priceless. You can't buy time. But boy, do we not treat time as precious. So the very first thing that keeps us from having it all is that we don't take time seriously. We don't take time seriously. Think about all the things in your life that are time compressed. Like, we're shoving so much living into every single day. It just sucks the joy out of it because we're just doing and doing and doing and doing and doing. We're sleeping for what, like 4 to 6 hours a night? I think I used to sleep like 6 hours a night. Now I sleep like 9 hours a night. I don't even use an alarm clock. It's like I just wake up refreshed. I feel great. Sometimes I sleep 6 hours a night. I mean, I got young kids and they wake me up or whatever. My husband snores and stuff happens. But when you're rested and you're living in flow and your job's not eating your mental energy every second of the day, you actually can sleep, which is amazing. Maybe we'll do a whole broadcast on sleep. But we don't use our time well, and we take time for granted. So time is precious. I don't know about you, but here's what I want you to put in the comments today. My mom passed away when she was 57 years old. Okay. I was 20 at the time, and I'm 50 years old right now. I turned 50 this year. Oh, dear God. And you have that moment where you're like, how'd I get as old as my parents? Oh, crap. But here's the truth. The gift, I have to say, in the loss of my mom at such a young age is at my young age of 20, it was very clear to me that time is precious, because I saw my mom make choices, and she did make those choices willingly. She made choices to compromise things she didn't have to. And that's the regret I have for her. Because knowing what I know now, God, I would have taught my mom, who would not have given up her career, who would not have played small, who would not have given up her dreams, she would not have said that her needs weren't important, because they were. And right as my mom got her daughters out of the house, graduated into college, and she went back into the workforce, and she was starting to plan trips with my dad, and just being a woman, like just be not a mom, not, just being a woman again. She had struggled with cancer since I was 6 for about 15 years. Her cancer returned, and that was it. It was just too much for her. She couldn't do one more bout of cancer. You know what I mean? Especially, I think, for my mom, where she was just starting to live in her limelight. And when cancer, reared its head, it was like, I can't do this. It was like, she's now this. Do you know what I mean? It was like every other time my mom had cancer, she's like, cancer, I got this. Let's rock it. And that time I just saw it in her. It was like she had given up so much of herself doing these things that she thought she had to do. Lesson learned. Guys, listen to this. And it was like, you could just see the energy. Like, she just didn't have it anymore. She's like, okay, this is my time. And now it's cancer. And it just got her. And I just learned that lesson from that age. And I thought, my God, that is not going to be my life. That is not going to be my life. I am not going to give up my joy in life. Now, of course, I turned around and did that for a long time because I didn't know what that meant, or I didn't know how to get there. But guys, we take time for granted. And here's why. And my mom was this person too. My mom was ambitious. My mom was assertive. My mom was a cool cat. She was graceful. She was an incredible woman. But the women who are geared this way, the women who are geared to achieve and who love achievement and who believe in achievement, we have a very, very high tolerance to pain. And so what we do is we don't mean to take time for granted. I think we all know, like, oh, time's precious. But we have such a high tolerance for pain is that we accept less than what we really, truly want. Because it's like, oh, okay, I only had an hour with my kid, or, I only had one date with my husband this month. That's okay. Because we have such a high tolerance for pain, and we believe, just like I talked about yesterday, that someday we're going to get to this magical place where it's all going to fall into place. Like life's going to happen. Like for my mom, that magical place was going to be, I'm going to raise my daughters. They get up out of the house. Then I can go back to work. Then I can be a woman. Then I can travel. Then I can be, this incredible, amazing woman that I've been dying to be for 20 years. And she never got that chance. And you and I are never getting that chance because what we've accepted for so long is less than. Okay, let me not take a walk in the morning because I have work to do. Let me not spend more than 30 minutes with my kid tonight because I have work to do. Like, this is a jail. Do you guys understand that? That is an absolute jail. Like I always say, that corporations do not make gilded cages, guys. We do. We do, because we are accepting that we can push our lives down the road and that time will be there waiting for us. What if it is? What if you live to be 99, but are you going to spend 65 of those years working your ass off and missing out on 65 years of your life? Like, that was the thing that struck me at the age of 20. Now, it took me, I didn't change then. Like, it took me learning that lesson and eating that to go, wait a minute. It wasn't until the age of 33, 34, after I had put my daughter on the sidelines, put my health on the sidelines, put my joy on the sidelines, and become this automaton robot that did pretty much nothing but work and mom and sleep and work and mom and sleep, that I finally was like, wait a minute. You got to this arrived place. My mom took a step back and she was a working or a stay-at-home mom. I thought I was being pretty, I don't know, what do you want to call it? I thought I was living in freedom because I had this big, huge career and I was making, a wonderful salary, and I had this home that I bought by myself. And like, my mom never did those things. But again, I made some dramatic changes that my mom never made, but they still weren't the right ones. Do you know what I mean? It still didn't get me freedom. It still didn't bring me joy. It still didn't bring me fulfillment. It brought me some beauty in my life and snippets of like pieces that all were incredible, but I couldn't bring it together to live and flow. And it was because as successful women, we had this extremely high tolerance for pain. And we just think time's going to be there for us sometime. And it's not. And you have to choose, are you going to be okay living in mediocrity and settling and being a slave to the system or to your success or not? You have to decide that, because we all get the same amount of time. Let's just say it's 100 years, 110 years, 65 years, whatever it's going to be for us. Like, I have friends and colleagues. I have two that we lost last year to cancer. One was 51 and the other was in mid 50s. Guys, that means, like, for me, I'm 50. That means 7 more years with my kids, 7 more summers with my sons. If I die at the same age of my mom, 7 more summers with my sons. 1 more year if I died at the same age as my colleague who died of cancer last year. 1 more Christmas, 1 more birthday with my kids. Oh my God, like, that just makes me cry sitting here talking to you. That's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. And so you have to decide, are you going to draw that line in the sand? Most people won't. Most people are so deeply ingrained in this notion that I have to work and slave for success and there's no other way, that they will, just like I did for 15 years, they will sacrifice their life for the security and the perceived freedom of that job. And that is just BS. We don't have to do that, guys. So that is one of the biggest problems with time, is we don't really see it for what it is, which is precious. Not because, like, it's the same thing like with smoking or drinking. I mean, how many of us have taken a drink and driven in a car? Like, most of us have done that, How many of us have smoked cigarettes and like, oh, I'm not going to die of, lung cancer. The threat of death is not enough to create a change in our behavior, guys. So my message to you today is not like, oh, time is precious. You could die tomorrow. You should live like today's the last day on earth. You guys have heard all that. You could Google that meme, for God's sakes. The point is how do you want to spend the time you're having here? Let's just say you're going to live for another 100 years. I'm all for it. You're going to live for 100 years, sister. How are you going to spend that 100 years? Doing what you're doing today? Enjoying your life in like little bits and frenetic pieces? Feeling like you've sold your soul to the devil? Done. Or are you going to completely step back? Believe me, I tried that. And my mom tried that. And then you're resentful. I mean, my mom died in resentment. In my observation, I shouldn't say that. I don't know how she really felt, but it just seemed like, wow, she'd given up so much. And she was like, this was my time. And then it was taken from her. Right? So we could step back. And if stepping back brings you joy, please do it. Like, good for you. I am not here telling anyone or pressuring anyone that you have to have some big, bold career. Absolutely. Like, if you are excited to go live on an island like I did, go do it. If you're excited to stay home with your kiddos, please do it. Like, I think those are amazing choices, but you have to know yourself, day one, clarity, and what you really want. I found when I stepped back for the simple life, I was running away from a problem I didn't know how to solve into another neato life that was neato. And there was cool things about living on an island and having this adventure with my husband. Believe me, it was. And we got to work with cool people and all sorts of stuff, but it wasn't what I wanted. And then I was resentful as hell that I'd given up all this capacity I had, all this intelligence I had to, bring my gifts forth in the world, the impact I could have, the lifestyle and the opportunities I could create for my family and for my children. And I was resentful as hell as that. Right. And so that's not how I want to spend the next 100 years either. I don't want to be a slave to my success, and I don't have to let my success go. It does not have to be either or. So you have to decide, how do you want to use your time? Do you want to continue to be a slave for your success? The other thing about time is that you have to realize is that time, we don't know how to use time. Like, one of my favorite things that's happened and I didn't anticipate this when we, started the company, because I was just like, oh my God, I've got to tell, like, when you understand that you don't have to make the trade-off, to me, it's like having these great pair of blue jeans that make your butt look awesome. And you want to tell all your girlfriends, and you're like, oh my gosh, these jeans, put them on, your butt will look so good. Like, it's that thing, right? So we first started the company and started sharing this message and started training women in this way and giving them this knowledge and the tools and the skills and the mindset and the emotional, the new emotional place to live. I didn't anticipate how many women would start to work with us, and they would say this to me, Kate, can you just show me how to make like the money I make now and only work 30 hours a week? I mean, if I could write that on a piece of paper, like, I can't tell you how many people have told me that. I'd be a millionaire if everybody gave me a penny when they say that. The thought is if you have more time, your life will be grand. And we just don't find that. We have this amazing client that we've been working with. She joined us for the initial 8 weeks of CW, just totally caught fire. Like, she had been through therapy. She'd been through leadership courses. She'd been in training. She'd been meditation. She'd been counseling. I mean, you name it. This woman is like, she had been on a self-development journey for like a decade, like a lot of the women we work with, not all of them, but so just to say, she tried everything. And what she didn't understand, though, is how high achieving women are wired. So while all of those self-development things were neato and cool and gave her some tools, it didn't really help her understand herself. And that's why a lot of those things don't work, because they're made in general for like the general populace, not for like you and how you're wired. So anyways, here's a fun thing. She came and she's like, hey, I just have to work 30 hours a week, but I want to hold on to my lifestyle. And I'm like, okay, come on and work with us, because I've heard this before. And again, as she started learning about herself, what she learned was that not only was she putting all this focus on time, if I have more time, I'll be so happy. So she didn't know how to use her time well. Like, here's what I used to do. Like, how many of you have ever had this experience? Let's just say you're married and your partner says, I'll take the kids. I'll just make this very stereotypical, and this may not be you. You may be single or whatever. But let's just say your spouse says, hey, I'll take the kids for Saturday. You can catch up on work. And you're like, oh, thank you so much. That's so nice of you. And your spouse takes the kids out for the day. And instead of getting your work done, you piddle around. You kind of miss the kids. You feel guilty. You read a couple Cosmo magazines and feel bad about it. You put around and do the laundry. And then your husband comes home, your partner comes home and says, hey, How was the day? Did you get caught up in work and you're like, oh, because you didn't. Or you do your work and you sit there for 8 hours on a Saturday and you're missing, and your husband's like texting you pictures of the kids at the zoo, or, your partner's texting you like, the dogs, your partner took the dogs to the beach and she's like, look at us, we're at the beach, miss you. And you're just like resentful as hell because you're stuck in the house working. The reason is because that's not what you needed to do that day. We don't understand our human needs. We don't understand how to really create fulfillment for ourselves. We don't know how to create a sense of deep satisfaction. So we get moments of it, but we don't know how to create it. And when you don't know how to create it, I don't care if you're working 30 hours a week, if you're working 70 hours a week, you are going to feel like poo. You're never going to feel fulfilled. You're always going to have resentment and regret. And I saw this for myself. I went and lived on an island. How hard could that be? I'm in a beautiful place. Shouldn't I be happy? Nope. Because that's not what I really needed. And I didn't know how to meet my needs. So the client that I was telling you about, now she's working 70-ish hours a week, maybe more, maybe less. She has this swank job. I'm not going to tell you all the details because it's confidential and she hasn't shared a success story with us yet. And she loves her life. She has rich relationships with her kiddos. She's completely connected with her children. She has a job that she loves and that is phenomenal and she enjoys every single day. She and her husband are more aligned than ever. And she's multidimensional. She's exercising. She's doing her meditation and these different things that she loves to do. She's a freaking rock star. And is it all because her job is something that she loves? Nope, I didn't say that. So don't you take that message away. Oh, well, as long as you're doing something that fulfills you, it doesn't matter. No, it's because she knows how to use her time well. It's because she understands what fulfills her, what to reach for, and what to drop. Sometimes you do need to drop the kids and say, you know what, kiddos, today's not that day. I'm not going to mom today. Today I'm going to work. Or you need to say, hey, you know what, today I'm doing kiddos and I'm not going to work. Or today I'm going to go take care of my health. Or you do it at little bits throughout the day. You have to be in touch with how to use your time effectively. How many of us, like this is how I used to use time when I was single and I was coming up through my career as an executive woman. I was single and I was lonely, but I was also a single mom. So I was like, oh, I don't have time to date and all these other excuses you make, right? We should do a dating episode because that would be a whole nother thing. But what I was doing to create connection, which is a human need, is I was binge watching Sex and the City. That is sad. I'm sorry, I have to admit it. That is sad. I was living my life through characters in a TV that weren't even real. That was where my connection was. I wasn't creating that for myself. I was slave to my success, working all day long, coming home momming. And then finally at 11 o'clock at night, I would grab a bottle of wine and a cheesecake and I would watch Sex and the City as, I created a muffin top for myself. Wow, that's a really amazing life, Kate. Way to go. Great use of your time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how I want to use my time. It had nothing to do with how much time I was working. It was just, I wasn't even being effective with the time I had. I wasn't pouring energy into the things that was really going to fulfill my needs. A, because I didn't know I had needs. B, I didn't know how to make great choices to meet those needs. I mean, I probably could have figured out not to binge watch Sex and the City, but I wouldn't have known that Sex and the City was a need for connection. You know what I'm saying? So I could have said, like, you shouldn't be watching Sex and the City, Kate. You should be reading the Harvard Business Review. That's probably what I would have done. Or I probably would have gone and, watched some, I don't know, documentary. Kate, you should be watching something and learning and juicing your brain. That wasn't what I needed either. What I needed was connection. I didn't know that. And so one of the things you have to know is, how do you use your time well? And again, if you have a very high tolerance to pain, not only do you take time for granted, but you don't use time well. And so when you use time well, life is fun. Life is free. And you can work 70 hours a week. You could work 30 hours a week. You could work in a job that is massively stressful. You could work in a job that's easy as peaches and pie. Doesn't matter. Because what you will be filling yourself with every day are the things that fulfill you. What fulfills you, right? And you have to know when to use it. Like, I could tell you my kids fulfill me a lot, but there's also a lot of times that I don't need fulfillment from them. Right? There's times I need a break from them, or there's times that I want to spend time with them, but I really need some autonomy, or I really need some connection in some other way, or I really need some leisure and flow. And I now know that, and I can navigate through that, and I can make better choices for myself that then juice me, that then help me be more energized, that then help me live and flow, that then help me go like, oh my God, this is the best life ever. How did I wake up here in this dream life? Does that make sense? So one of the things that keeps us from having it all, day 3, is time. One is we take time for granted. And if you're a high achiever, not only are you taking time for granted, but you're not thinking about, how do I want to be spending this time? And then you got to know what to do with it, right? And that is just so key. It is so key. And with that block of knowledge and experience and wisdom and practice, because it's a practice, fell into place for me. It was like, oh, this is getting fun. This is getting fun. Because yeah, I'm still making money. Yeah, I'm still successful and have, the opportunities that lie in front of me. Ooh, yeah, I am still getting to work with highly fascinating people and do great work. And it's not owning me anymore. And I feel refreshed and amazed and in love with my life every single day. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to put in the comments today, someone you know who never had the advantage of time. So for me, I'm going to put my mom in the comments, and I'm going to write her name and I'm going to honor her. Who do you know that never had the gift of time? Could be, if you don't know anyone in your life, it could be John F. Kennedy Jr. I don't know. Or, I don't know, some like celebrity or someone you know. Who do you know that never had the gift of time? And I want you just to sit with that for a moment and think about, what are you doing with the gift of your time? And for those of you who are serious about doing something different and more fulfilling and more freeing with your gift of time, I want you to watch our free training, book a call with our team, and let's talk. Because you don't have to continue to take time for granted. You don't have to keep using your time in ways that are ineffective and are keeping you feeling miserable or mediocre or whatever you want to say, like meh. You can actually live in phenomenal abundance and flow that is available to you and every woman leader out there. So don't hide behind the BSs of your mind and all that crap. It's available to you. If it's available to me, if it's available to the 350 clients that we've worked with, it's available to you, believe me. So I'll put some links to that, but do me a favor, write that comment and then share this with someone else who you believe needs this message. There is another woman out there who's suffering for success, who's giving too much of her time away to things that don't bring her joy and therefore don't bring her family and friends and colleagues and team members joy either. Make sense? All right. Thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow for day 4. This is